I'm Jock Fremantle. I'm the Managing Director of Supercars Limited, and it's a company that's been set up in New Zealand to create the Hulme, New Zealand's own supercar. This is it, the Hulme. Fantastic, isn't it? It's called the Hulme because we had to find a name that represented New Zealand's history, and Denny Hulme is the only New Zealander to win the Formula One World Championship. He was the member of the McLaren team that won the Can-Am Championship 5 times in a row, I believe. He was a very highly respected motor racing driver. We didn't set out to design a supercar. I was sitting down with a very good friend of mine, a guy called Bruce Woods. He's the head of the School of Transport Design at Massey University at Albany. He said to me that it was amazing. They just interviewed all the students at the end of their very first year of this new design course, what they want to specialise in. And as you expect, most of them want to be in cars, design motor cars. And we felt it was rather sad that here we are in New Zealand, there's no industry, there was no way that they could take that talent and move into New Zealand, they'd all go offshore, overseas. And he challenged me, he said, why don't you see if you can build a car company that can give them a job, in a sense. So that's how we started. It didn't take very long. It was a 12-month program, but very quickly realised you couldn't compete with Honda and Ford and Toyota and all those guys and build a mass-produced, cheap motor car. So we decided that we had to build a car that was the top end of the market, an exclusive car where we could use the skills and knowledge we've got. So it was an obvious answer. Let's create a supercar. Let's create a car that will become an icon, that will put New Zealand not back on the map, because I think it already is there, but help re-establish us on the motor racing world again. And that's what we've done. New Zealand's very famous for motor racing, got incredible history. So combining that history together, plus the design skills of New Zealanders, and Tony Parker obviously is our designer, head of the School of Three-Dimensional Design at Massey, we've created a car that's distinctly different.
The way Jock and I worked was we'd have conversations, and then I'd draw some ideas, and that could take from a couple of hours to a couple of weeks. We actually designed 15 cars, right, before we got to this one. And they were fantastic motor cars, but every one of them was similar to what was on the market. They were different, but similar. If you're going to compete on the supercar market, and that's what we intended to do, it was no good going head-to-head and creating a car that looked like somebody else's car. We made the very early decision that it had to be different. It had to be wow. And I had done a very crude sketch of a vehicle that had exposed wheels under mudguards. When Jock came to see me one day, he saw that drawing and he said, "Oh, what's that?" And I just said, "Oh, it's an idea that I was exploring, but I thought that perhaps it was too radical." The big breakthrough is the exposed wheels. The concept of having a supercar that looks like a single-seater. That's never been done before. It has exposed wheels under mudguards and looking like a Formula One car. For example, it has a full-width aerofoil at the front. Directly underneath that, you'll notice there's a thing called a splitter, which literally splits the air and divides it so that it will either go underneath the car or around the sides. It has a Coke bottle shape and plan, so that once you get past the driver's compartment, the passenger's compartment, the car tapers back in toward the rear wheel. It's got a rear aerofoil, which is not the full width of the car, which is more conventional for Group C and sports cars. And once you get to the very rear of the car, you've got a diffuser, which is another aerodynamic device, which creates a low pressure zone behind the car, underneath the car, and sucks it all down. So it uses a lot of the features of a Formula One car. The whole purpose of the exercise was to develop a car industry in New Zealand that the students from mainly Massey University initially could have a future in car design. The fact that we've created a supercar, what that's going to do is not only put an iconic product on the market for New Zealand to be proud of, it's also going to develop an ongoing industry around it. Right? Once we get our name established in the marketplace for creating this type of supercar, then it will attract people to come here looking for concept designs, and the design students will have an opportunity to show their ability and still work at home. And that's something we need to keep that knowledge in New Zealand. One of the scary things, and it's exciting and scary at the same time, is Chuck Pelly, who's our overall design consultant. He goes to all the car design studios around the world on a regular basis. Last year, there was no mention of our car. This year, our car's on the wall of every one of them. And that's exciting. He thinks it's exciting. He thinks people respect it. They've got big photographs of the car on the wall. So they believe that what we've done is broken the mold. We've created something uniquely different.